Hey everyone. So I want to ask you guys a bit of a question. You see, when it comes to, very adult fan fiction, whether it's just written adult fan fiction, original adult fan fiction, or original based with original characters or featuring original characters and stuff, or it's adult, nfsw web comics of any kind. Whether they're drawn, whether they're created through software that supplies SFM, CGI like quality, whatever the case may be. There's always been a unique situation in these stories at times, if you kind of get what I'm going at. You see, what I'm getting at and trying to go with, very, non-vocabulary wise when it comes to this stuff. But have you ever wondered that when we get to specific spicy moments, if you know what I mean, that I don't know what it is, but when we get to those very spicy moments, that when we get that spicy moment between a male and a female, or through science fiction like technology or science fiction fantasy, we get that moment between a female and a female because the other female has a certain little addition added to them through science or magic or whatever the case may be. So my question, obviously, and I'm trying to do this, as clean as possible, very, I guess you could say, very straight out there, uncensored kind of deal, because this is YouTube and you want to be careful sometimes, if not most times, depending on what you talk about. But have you ever wondered that when a male and a female character in these stories, or even a female and a female, depending on, like I said, the circumstances where the other female gets that addition, if you will, that little spicy addition to them, have you ever wondered, because it's always been curious to me, I don't even know how to ask this, but have you ever wondered why in the story, whether it's an adult fan fiction story based on established characters, whether it's an adult fan fiction story featuring OC characters, original characters, or it's a adult, web comic based in fantasy, if you will, have you ever wondered that when we get to those spicy moments between a male and a female, or a female and a female, because the other female, as I said, gets that little addition, spicy addition given to them or added to them through science or magic, have you ever wondered that when it's all said and done, how that one female character, and again, I say this as best and cleanly as I can, no offense, all due respect, have you ever wondered why the female character never gets pregnant? Or it's never teased that maybe, that character is going to have, a certain moment occur, if you will, a certain revelation she has to tell one of those characters that did it to her, or potentially did it to her? Have you wondered that? Because to me, I know it sounds crazy, but to me it would, in a way, make the story more intriguing, more interesting, if you will. Because of the fact that, let's say you go the female-female route with one of them, like I say, getting that certain spicy addition given to them or added to them through science and magic. Let's say, when it's all said and done, the girl that was given that spicy treatment by the other girl basically has to come to her and say, yeah, out of curiosity, I took a certain test, and it said that I am pretty much in term, if you know what I mean. And she points out that the only person that she could look at as being the other parent is her friend that through the magic or science or whatever gives her that special edition, was the one that pretty much, made this happen. I know this sounds strange coming from me and, me talking about it, but it's just something that you have to wonder, why don't the writers ever put it into the stories? I mean, come on, how many times have you read these kind of stories? And how many times, let's say, if you felt like it, you've watched adult movies, adult late night movies, and even adult anime movies of the XXX kind. Have you ever wondered why any time a certain female gets into those spicy situations, whether it's with a male or a female that through science or magic gets a spicy addition, have you ever wondered why it doesn't result in them having to tell either the male or the female or any potential partner they were with that, hey, I'm in term, I'm with child now because of what we did? Have you ever wondered why that doesn't happen? To me, it would make things really interesting. One thing I will give credit to, and that is Groblick and Lady Dasamai, when they did their succubus storyline, which resulted basically in the Slime Girl Shenanigans storyline, at least they gave a legit reason as to why the two girlfriends of the character Frida, who has the Slime Girl powers, if you will, at least they gave an explanation of how they are with child because of what Frida had become in the previous stories, due to this succubus having a little spicy addition along, added to them, if you catch my drift. So at least in a way they gave an explanation. But again, it's always been curious to me, and I know I'm not alone in this, of why, the writers don't add that in. I mean, I get it's fantasy, it's non-reality, and in fantasy, non-reality, nothing like that is possible of happening. I get it. I get that. But you have to seriously ask yourself, that question, if not have been wondering that question of, why hasn't there been any certain consequence or surprise, revelation coming out of these moments? It's really strange when you think about it. And again, you can go and you can even, research adult movies that come on late at night, or adult animes that get sold, online or sold, separately in stores, certain stores that is. You could go back and trace it all the way back to those, and you see something similar, and you wonder why, how? How does this not result in the female that's, having these spicy moments with the male or the female with the spicy addition, that is, not ending up with child, not ending up, in a term, if you catch my drift? Because to me, I think honestly, like I said, it would make things more intriguing and more investing for the potential watchers, or in this case, the readers. Because now you have to work around that situation. You have to work around, the end result of what happened. Again, I understand these stories and everything that, are written, that are drawn up, that are made on the computer through software that imports or involves using SFM, CGI technology. I get it's all fantasy. And in fantasy, anything is possible or not possible. I get it. But still, you have to wonder. I mean, honestly, some of the stories I've talked about that I enjoy on Patreon supporting, Pink Benefits, if you will, is one of them. pink benefits, nano shift, if you will, things like that, they've always resulted in some female on female spicy action, if you know what I mean. And usually sometimes one of the females ends up, through the shape-shifting abilities, adding a certain spicy addition, to make things a little bit more spicier. And sometimes it results in them letting that spice flow, if you know what I mean, penetrate as a word would go, engulf the inside of the female lover, and basically, just like you would with Miracle-Gro, if you will, when it comes to your grass or your plants, fertilize the inside for potential offspring. I have heard people tell me that there are chapters in the Pink Benefits that do that, and just out of curiosity, I've looked and saw myself, and it is fact. But the thing is, you have to wonder, why hasn't there been any consequence or aftermath? You would think they would do that, right? You think they would go there. One thing I will give credit to Mr. Internet Man on is when he has Veronica become Demonica in his Mystic Makeover series, and then he has her split apart into different Demonicas who then change into different versions, alter egos, if you will. And most of the time it ends the end result at the end of the story is them making out. At least I give him credit, as he doesn't go that direction, if you know what I mean. But even if he did, I'm sure, and I'm not saying this to kiss up to him or anything, but I'm sure if he did, there would be some kind of aftermath or consequence, if you know what I mean. And he'd find a very unique way to, go that route, to kind of make that aftermath and consequence, that result, that revelation come to be. But again, you have to wonder, why? Why don't we see, any kind of revelation or any aftermath after these moments? It is something to really think about, guys. It is really something to think about, because it's something that, in story, I'm going to be honest, would make, like I said earlier, it would make things more intriguing and interesting. It would limit. Think about it this way. We have two characters in the Pink Benefits series called Emily and Betty. Both have these powers. One seems to be evolving more quickly than the other is right behind them. Both of them have already, got it on, if you know what I mean, spiced things up, if you know what I mean. And one of them, mostly I think it's Betty, has already been able to master the abilities of adding a certain spicy addition, to their fun, if you catch my drift. And here's the thing. The last time that happened in one of the chapters, she didn't remove the spice. Instead, she let the spice basically penetrate the flavor, if you catch my drift. But we have not seen any consequence yet. But that still might change. That still might change. How it changes, we don't know. We don't know. But again, it's always been a bit of a curiosity for me. Because, again, like I said, I understand this is a realm of fantasy. It's a realm of fiction, non-reality. Because in reality, if a man and a woman had a spicy encounter, if you know what I mean, basically, most of the time, unless they have a little bit of a cooling portion to that spice, if you know, a kind of cool protection or cooling down to that spice, if you know what I mean, usually most of the time, unless they have that little bit of coolingness, if you will, it results in a term, if you catch my drift. It results in the flavors being flavorized. So when you think about it, You know, when you compare the two, yes, I understand fantasy and all that, but but still, even in fantasy, we've seen them. It doesn't matter what stories. We've seen them kind of try to work around that. They've tried to add that addition in. But again, most of the time, because of fantasy, non-reality, we don't see it. But what do you guys think? I don't want to go a little too long with this any more than I am, because it's even convoluted and confusing for me to talk about. But what do you guys think? Why do you think in fan fiction, adult fan fiction stories, adult web comics of any kind, whether it's established characters, whether it's OC characters, you know, whatever the case may be, why do you think we've not seen it as much? Why do you think they ignore it? I'm just saying. But let me know what your thoughts are. I know this was a weird, audio video to do, but let me know what your thoughts are. I'd love to hear from each and every one of you. Comment down below, live chat during the premiere, like the video, check out the Teespring store. But again, let me know what your thoughts are, and I will talk to you all later.